I gotta record this video. It's like a part 3. I really didn't want to do it, but I kind of have to because I let the cat out of the bag. To get the, let's go back to our dormer. If you've been following any of what I've done, you know that we had a dormer like that, and we had calculated the rise. This is your common rafter. There's your run, and then your rise, and then you got your diagonal here, which would be your sleeper, your valley sleeper, an actual frame-in member right there. And this is just a theoretical distance that we use for calculation, going up the rake. So, and then we go back to this, straight up from there. That's a dimension, right? But being that this is kind of an unusual situation that happens right here, because normally when if you're, let's just go with a gable, you got your double plates, right? Make sure I got everything on the screen. You got double plates, and then you're gonna have your rafter is gonna have a heel height, right? And you're not really calculating, if there was some kind of code that said you can't frame above, whatever feet in the air, you might have to take into account whatever the, 4 or 5 inches of heel height, you can't be above that. If somebody's going to come up there and actually look into that, I'd be amazed. Maybe they do that in other countries. But you got a heel height right there. So we can't do our math from our wall plates, which would be our span. You can get your common rafter, you can mark that from there, but we're not trying to do common rafters. We're trying to get something that's going to plane into this hole where our jacks are going to land on a lay board or whatever. So we gotta calculate this. We gotta do the math for the entire span of the roof. All right, and what that entails is, now you can theoretically you could get, if you run the ridge back that way and you can come all the way to where. Imagine here's your common, right? And there's a common coming in, and then another one, maybe 5 or 6 commons. Now, if we laid a straight edge or a string on, and we're gonna go corner to corner on all these rafters and plane it into the adjoining roof there, this way. The marker's not lining up the way I want it to. That way, we're going straight in, right? Playing into that roof, and you get a mark on that roof, you can run your lay board all the way there if you want. Most people don't do that because your last common to the first jack is one on center layout space, and you're already doing jacks. So you might have one bay that doesn't have, there's only one bay in between when your jacks start coming up. So nobody's going to waste time doing that. But what I'm saying, if you want to do the math for your lay board for your sleeper, you got to do it. You got to know where you're getting the math to. And so what I'm saying is, if you want to do it this way, you can. Okay, you're going to be below. You're going to have a different rise. If you come down here, you're going to have a different. Because now you're below your plates, so your rise is going to be different. You got a whole different math here. Do you see that? If you want to calculate it here to where your tails die, that's fine. but just realize that it's not gonna be the same. You're gonna have a different rise. You can calculate that run and that rise to be different, and it's gonna extend when you do the math from your ridge, and your sleeper is gonna be longer, right? Uh, we could do that. We could do the math for all that stuff. It don't matter to me. Mine is this. So if we level this, if we get a seat cut, a level cut, and come all the way here, that's where I'd rather plane right there. You know, you're gonna make sure that any jacks are laying on top of your whatever you call it. You know, so you know I've seen the Brits. They even Robin Clavette, I think his name is, super cool guy. You know, the paradigm of like the kind of that like angry, impatient, you know, American, like Irish blooded guy, you know, that you scared he's gonna smack you with the hammer on it on the first day on the job. I love it because those motherfuckers get shit done, but he's kind of like the opposite of that. He's a smooth guy, and I really like listening to him. It's calming. You can learn a lot from him. But what he did was he calculated out here, but then, you know, he had like a bird's mouth that came around, kind of like that, right? I suggest going to his videos, and it was really cool because he planed that in with the wall plate so beautifully. And it's not hard to do this stuff when you know how to do it. You just do it. You don't. Some people would say, "Oh, it's extra work." No, it's really not. Whenever you know how to do it. It's the same as just measuring and cutting, you know. So, but the way I would say, I'm just gonna go and tell you that just extend it out here like that. And here's your point. So we know that, you know, we can get this. I've shown you guys in other videos. This whole thing, whatever the pitch is, 5 and 12 pitch, you know, you're going to have to figure out, you know, so if you go across the whole board and figure out what that is, and then subtract your wall plate. Because I always bear I calculate my rafters to bear to where this dies right into the corner. Full bearing, unless there's another detail stating otherwise, I'm doing that, and that's, you know, that's kind of a thing with me. But then if you subtract out your 3.5 here, or your 4 inches with plywood, it gives you kind of this is a different run. And if I plug that run in, remember how I did it? I got my diagonal, my rise, and my run, and then I set it up like that. Everybody is going to remember me just staring blankly at the thing and not knowing forgetting my name. But if you set that up, then you can get, you know, this measurement right here. And then wall plate, you know, out to out on your plates, you know, you'll have whatever that measurement is. You can add this, you know, multiply by 2 plus your out to out, and that gives you your total span. Divide by 2, and that's going to be able to allow you to calculate a new run here, right? So a new run right there. So we got the run, and we have from basically where this, and this is a complicated part, but it's where the last, if I were to push, if I had this common rafter sitting on the wall plate, and I had the ridge running the whole way, and I were to slide it in, and when this touched the roof, and it kind of like, as I'm pushing it, kind of like disappears all the way till I get to here, and that's the last thing I got right there. Wherever that is, if I mark the ridge, you got to keep it square up here as I'm pushing. But if I mark that ridge, that's your run. That, going that way. So right here, there it is, right? And that's the point where we're going to calculate. We're going to determine this is the run for once we go and now we're doing the math here. So just to make sure that we got our math straight, and y'all go get the construction apps and everything. Don't listen to me and try to do this. Don't try to do this on the job. I mean, you'll probably mess up so bad it's not even funny. But we want to teach our kids how to be carpenters. And I've heard that word thrown around a lot where I live at. But I say a carpenter, and this is some lanyap for you guys. But a carpenter is up here, right? And then a framer is really everybody in the field should get some experience framing, building a house, not just building a window or moving a door, like actually building a house. 2-3 years, you need the experience. Then you can move into another field after that. If you want to, if you're a production guy and you want to do siding, you want to go into more of a art kind of thing, then you could do hang some drywall and learn how to tape and float and make some beautiful stuff. I mean, really focus on it. You got guys at production level cabinetry, and then you got guys. I mean, I've seen some stuff, some amazing stuff from guys. I mean, I've seen like staircases that just it was unbelievable how they were able to articulate how the stairs like went up, and everything was like so on point. And I don't know why I devolved into this topic, but maybe it's a conversation that can go forward. But when you're just a framer only and you go into that career only, if you're a contractor, you're an employer, and you hire a guy, he says, I'm a framer, but I have a little bit of other carpentry experience. This guy knows how to build you a neighborhood. But he might not be too great on getting your cabinets in. He can get it in, but it might take 8 hours to do it. So be careful, and he's a good guy to have around because he can work out there in any conditions and whatever. But how I got off on that, I'll never know. But I wanted to finish out that video. I'll probably put part 3. It's not really a part 3. It's kind of just a little bit extra for the Valley Sleeper. Because if you're really going to calculate, you're going to get the length of the sleeper, you're going to have to know where you're doing your math from. Awesome framer. I know he had said in one of his videos that and this is not a ding on him. I mean, I'm a troubleshooter. I'm trying to figure out all these things with my the guys that I'm working alongside, figuratively in on YouTube and on the internet, my colleagues, and I'm hoping the best, but I'm trying to figure it out because I look at the framing point for the Valley Sleeper, and what I see is you've got to go all the way out to the edge of the seat cut where it dies in, and then from there you can make that you can calculate the length of the sleeper. And I know he said he was like an inch off, and he talked to old timers, and they said that happens. I don't know what that deal was, but I'm trying to fix that so we can get math exact. But anyway, that's all I got for this. It's 15 minutes. I don't know how much longer I can talk. Have a good weekend.